Everyone laughed at the initial video, but they didn't realize the hidden steps that set up the final, devastating blow. It all started with a seemingly harmless office prank. You've probably seen the clip. A guy named Kevin replaces his coworker Mark's family photos with pictures of actor Steve Buscemi. It went viral. Millions of views. Right. People loved it. Kevin became a minor internet celebrity, the office prank king. Mark, on the other hand, just smiled awkwardly on camera, taking it like a champ. But that smile hid a decade-long plan already in motion. See, what the internet didn't know was that this wasn't the first time Kevin had targeted Mark for years. Kevin had been the office alpha, a classic bully who disguised his cruelty as just a joke. He'd accidentally spill coffee on Mark's reports, borrow his expensive pens and never return them, and constantly make little digs about his work in front of their boss. The Buscemi prank was just the latest, most public humiliation. And for Mark, it was the last straw. But instead of getting mad, he decided to get even. Not with a quick, petty prank, but with a meticulously crafted, long-term strategy. His revenge wouldn't be a sprint, it would be a marathon. Mark's first move was subtle, almost invisible. He started documenting everything. Every snide comment, every lost file, every time Kevin took credit for his ideas. He created a private folder on his computer, password protected, filled with dated notes, emails, and even secret audio recordings from his phone. He knew that one day this evidence would be his ace in the hole. While Kevin was basking in the glory of his viral video, Mark was quietly laying the foundation for his downfall. Brick by painstaking brick. He wasn't just collecting grievances, he was building a case. Next, Mark started playing the long game at work. He stopped being the quiet, unassuming guy in the corner. He started volunteering for difficult projects, the ones Kevin always avoided. He'd stay late, not to redo work Kevin had sabotaged, but to learn new skills, to master the company's intricate software, to make himself indispensable. He enrolled in online courses for project management and data analysis, all paid for out of his own pocket. He was transforming himself from a target into a powerhouse, right under Kevin's nose. Kevin, too busy planning his next hilarious prank, didn't even notice Mark was leveling up, becoming the employee the company couldn't afford to lose. While he was building his professional value, Mark also started working on his social game. He began making allies. He'd remember the name of the receptionist's dog, bring in donuts for the IT department who were always complaining about Kevin's demands, and offered to help junior colleagues with their work. He wasn't being fake, he was just being the decent person he'd always been. But this time, with strategic intent, he was building a network of people who genuinely liked and respected him. Meanwhile, Kevin's pranks were starting to wear thin on everyone. The laughter became more forced. People were getting tired of his antics. Kevin thought he was the most popular guy in the office, but in reality, his social capital was plummeting. About 5 years in, Mark initiated Phase 3. Operation Trojan Horse. He knew Kevin's biggest weakness was his ego. So, Mark started subtly feeding it. He'd accidentally let it slip in a meeting that a complex idea was something Kevin and I were brainstorming, even though Kevin had nothing to do with it. He'd ask Kevin for advice on simple tasks, making him feel superior and important. Kevin, blinded by his own arrogance, ate it up. He started seeing Mark not as a target, but as a subordinate, a sidekick. He started trusting Mark, even confiding in him about the corners he cut on his own projects. He was unwittingly handing Mark the very rope he would use to hang himself. Mark was no longer just a victim, he was a confidant, a wolf in sheep's clothing. The setup was almost complete. Mark had become a top performer, beloved by his colleagues, and had earned the misplaced trust of his nemesis. He waited for the perfect opportunity. It came nearly 10 years after the original Buscemi prank. The company announced a massive multi-million-dollar project, a complete overhaul of their client management system. The lead position for this project was a huge step up, a promotion that would essentially guarantee a future executive role. Both Mark and Kevin were the top candidates. Kevin's presentation for the project was exactly what you'd expect. It was flashy, full of buzzwords, and focused more on style than substance. He even threw in a few jokes, trying to charm the board of directors. Then, it was Mark's turn. He didn't use jokes. He used data. He presented a flawless, incredibly detailed plan, showcasing his deep understanding of the company's needs and technical systems. He had charts, projections, and risk assessments. It was a masterclass. The board was visibly impressed. But Mark wasn't finished. This was the moment he had been waiting for a decade. As he concluded his presentation, the CEO asked him, "This is incredibly thorough, Mark, but it's ambitious. Do you have a contingency plan for potential workflow disruptions, particularly concerning Kevin's department, which has historically had some ... inconsistencies?" The CEO was fishing, and Mark was ready to deliver. With a calm demeanor, Mark looked directly at the board and said, "That's an excellent point. In fact, ensuring smooth integration and accountability is my top priority." He then projected a slide. It was a list of dates, times, and incidents. Over the past 10 years, he He began IV tracked various inconsistencies that have cost the company an estimated $200,000 in lost time and resources. He clicked to the next slide. It was a collection of emails where Kevin took credit for Mark's work. The next slide showed project timelines Kevin had fudged. He presented his evidence calmly and professionally, not as a personal attack, but as a data-driven risk analysis. He never once raised his voice. The folder he had started 10 years ago was now on the big screen for the entire executive team to see. The final blow was a quiet one. Mark concluded, "My plan includes a new system of checks and balances to prevent these kinds of costly pranks and inconsistencies from happening again. It's about protecting the company's investment." He didn't need to say Kevin's name. Everyone in the room knew. Kevin sat there, his face pale, the cocky smile wiped clean off. The viral prankster was exposed not by an equally silly prank, but by a decade of his own actions, meticulously documented and presented as a business case. There was no laughter this time, just a stunned, heavy silence. Needless to say, Mark got the promotion. Kevin was quietly let go a few weeks later for performance issues. The story never went viral. There was no triumphant video, no public shaming. Mark's revenge was silent, professional, and devastatingly effective. It wasn't about a single moment of victory, but about a decade of self-improvement and quiet determination. It serves as a powerful reminder that the best revenge isn't stooping to someone's level. It's outgrowing them in every conceivable way. So what do you think? Was Mark's 10-year plan a stroke of genius or a step too far? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content just like this. See you in the next one.